All right. How we doing over there, folks? All good? All right. Greeny's there. You got me, Greeny?
I do.
All right, man. And once again, folks, we are talking to Greeny, 2:30 live. We'll air this later on in our show, but wanted to have our video interviews available for you to watch. So that is why we're doing this today. So we will get it rolling right now. Let's go out to the Pit Electric Live line. Talk to Mark Greenhalgh Golf Shop Radio Show coming your way. 8 to 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. The lead-in to the Bud Light pregame tailgate, as we'll be here 10:30, getting you ready for a 2:30 kickoff, East Carolina and South Florida. Greeny, you're in the Charlotte area, correct? So are you going to feel any effects of this storm?
Yeah, we've been getting some serious gusts of wind. I had one about 10 minutes ago, man, and I've been up around like 50 or a little over 50 mile an hour gusts of wind. So yeah, there's some effects going on with this thing right now. Some rain, but nothing too major.
The East Carolina game was moved from Tampa to Boca Raton, and also the game time moved from 7 to 2:30. And we've seen this with a lot of games in the South this week. When do you play it? Does it go on as scheduled? I know there was some talk of what do you do about Clemson, NC State. I guess, Greeny, the hope is, right, it should be pretty decent for a football game as long as there's no damage and flooding for Saturday night at 7:30. And did they make the right call there to have that one as scheduled, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this storm has continued to shift a little further east, so I don't even think Clemson's got any rain yet. I don't know if they're going to get any rain, so I think they're pretty much out of the woods at this point. I mean, shoot, my son's soccer is at 1:30 tomorrow here, and they're already talking about we think we're a go for that. So it shouldn't be any issue over in Clemson tomorrow evening.
I heard a breakdown for this game, and pretty obvious one. Brandon Walker, College Football Show, said that this is a game between a team that has played a million games on the big stage and one that just has not. And NC State is the one that has not. Clemson is used to this. They're used to being under the lights with the national spotlight on them. So I don't know, agree. I mean, does that have any effect on tomorrow night? Does it make you feel more confident, comfortable going into this game? What do you think about the matchup?
I tell you what makes me feel more confident and comfortable is the fact that I think last week DJ Uyunglele had his best game throwing the ball ever as a Clemson Tiger in terms of how he looked, the completions that he made, the throws that he made, and how he worked the offense. Now, I know it ended up being a bit of a shootout with Wake Forest, and I think that had to do to maybe some lack of prep on the defensive side of the ball with everything going on with Brian Bursey and the passing of his 15-year-old sister and the team attending a funeral and all of that stuff and some inexperience in the back end that I think is going to be a little different this weekend. So I think Clemson's ready for this. We don't know if NC State is necessarily ready for this just because they haven't been here in this situation before, even though they won last year. They were unranked. Plus the fact that I don't know if their schedules really kind of warmed them up to this type of a game situation.
I expected Wake Forest, who breaks out the fireworks just about every Saturday, to struggle against Clemson's defense. So I was super impressed with Wake Forest kind of doing what they do, putting up a lot of points. But on the flip side of that, Greeny, super impressed with Clemson and the way they were able to hang offensively. So you're right, that's got to give them some confidence. Maybe a lower scoring game coming up Saturday night between these two, but yeah, you got to feel good that that if Clemson gets in this style of game that they can hang. We'll see if they can do it against NC State.
Yeah, that was definitely the unexpected part because they've struggled for a year and a half now to score some points, and that was very nice to see. And like I said, I think you're going to see a little different secondary this week. I think that there was I think if it was this week, last week, and with NC State ranked 10th coming into Clemson, I think you might have seen some of these guys play. I think they tried to kind of get away with maybe sitting guys out an extra week to give them a little more healing process going into this big game. So hopefully the back end looks a little bit better and you got a little more experience back there. When you're rolling out, three of your four guys in the secondary between the safeties and the corners are freshmen that haven't had a lot of game time. Sam Hartman, it seems like a 12th-year senior, is going to pick you apart every time.
Greeny, you were busy last week. We tried to reach out to you, but you had a lot going on with the President's Cup, right? So recap that weekend for you. How'd it go for you guys?
Yeah, that was interesting. I did a little TV work on Wednesday. I got 3 minutes to answer a bunch of questions, so that was fun. And then we did 2 hours of radio on Thursday, 2 hours Friday, our normal Saturday show, and then 3 hours on Sunday. And let me tell you, Cliff, it was, you could see the international team right there the whole time. For people that were thinking that this was a blowout and even at the end thought it was a blowout, it was anything but that. It was, even on Thursday, I mean, I was even sitting there Thursday, and of course we know that the U.S. squad won 4-1 in the Thursday foursomes matches, but there was a time where I counted 21 holes that were played that the USA did not win a hole. And the problem was that the internationals were only winning a few of those holes, so they were kind of getting themselves back into some of those matches. And then as you saw the week go on, you saw Friday, you saw a little more dent going into it. And then, man, I tell you what, the end of the Saturday morning session and then the entire Saturday afternoon session, you really saw the internationals kind of getting more comfortable with the golf course, getting more comfortable with the formats and with each other, and really starting to build that snowball. Now, it didn't carry over into Sunday Signals, which we always know the United States is very good in, whether it's a President's Cup or a Ryder Cup. So they were a little overmatched from that standpoint. But I think you look at that team going forward, man, you got to think a majority of that team's coming back in 2 years, and they're going to have a little more experience, and they might be hard to handle.
Mark Greenhalgh's Golf Shop Radio Show joining us. You can check it out 8 to 10 a.m. Saturday before the Bud Light pregame tailgate. Greeny, what's going on in golf this week, and what are you guys focusing on Saturday on the show?
Well, there's really three things going on. We know the PGA Tour has started their wraparound season. We are in event number 2, the Sanderson Farms Championship down in Jackson, Mississippi. You still only get a smattering of players for this. As a matter of fact, it's very close in the world ranking points that you're going to get for winning it as the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship, which is kind of a big event on the DP World Tour. And man, I'll tell you what, they had some weather over there in Scotland this morning, and there were guys that were shooting a bunch of scores in the 80s, and it was true European Scottish weather. So if you ever saw any highlights of that, it was fun to watch. And then you have the LPGA Tour, where they have about 6 events left, so they're kind of getting towards the end of their season. And then you have the Epsom Tour, which is the feeder tour to the LPGA Tour. They're on their second to last event, and next week they're actually down in Florida. They're in Daytona Beach playing in their tour championship, and I'll actually be broadcasting live from there next Saturday.
Awesome stuff. Mark Greenhalgh's Golf Shop Radio Show joining us today here on Pirate Radio Live. Greeny, great to chat with you. Have a great weekend. Good luck. You feeling good? Your Tigers going to win tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Like
I
said, I think DJ's been building, so I'm in good shape.
All right. Greeny's going to have a big Saturday, starting with the Golf Shop Radio Show and ending with a Clemson victory over NC State. Greeny, we'll check in with you again next week.
All right. Thanks, Cliff. Have a good one.
And we'll wrap it up there, Greeny. Appreciate it, man, and have a good weekend.
All right, you too.
All right.
Thanks.
And for our live viewers, we'll be back with you 3 o'clock, Pirate Radio Live. So we'll run like we always do, 3 to 5 today. And then you have seen or heard our interviews that we'll be playing in the 5 o'clock hour. So we'll be back with you in about 20 minutes live for PRL. Got Tony Dunn. Big NFL hour coming up at 4 o'clock, and we'll talk some East Carolina and USF at 3 o'clock. Peace! And once again, folks,